So first off, could you just explain the design for the CheckMate 650 trial and the trial results?
Yeah, so it was a phase 2 study where we were doing a signal seeking trial where we didn't know whether we were going to see more responses in the pre-chemotherapy or the post-chemotherapy setting. And so we designed a trial, so there's two different cohorts, cohort A, which is the pre-chemotherapy, and cohort B, which is the post-chemotherapy patients. And there were 45 patients in each cohort, and they all received up to 4 doses of nivolumab plus ipilimumab using the dosing and schedule that is FDA approved for metastatic melanoma.
And what were the findings of the study?
The findings showed that there were responses, objective responses seen in both the pre-chemotherapy and post-chemotherapy setting. And not only were the responses observed, but they were actually durable. In fact, we have 2 patients of MD Anderson, one that started 4 years ago and another 3 years ago, and they have undetectable PSAs to date, and they have been off all forms of prostate cancer therapy, including hormonal therapy, and they still have undetectable PSAs.
So were there any notable treatment-related adverse events?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question because safety was definitely an issue that was seen and observed in this trial, where up to 50% of patients had to come off the study because of treatment-related adverse events. As a result, the trial has been amended, and it is now evaluating the dosing and scheduling of nivolumab plus ipilimumab using the renal cell cancer dosing as well as the lung cancer dosing. So there's 2 separate arms looking at these that have been shown in those 2 different cancers to be much more safe as well as while still maintaining the efficacy.
So what would you say are the overall implications of these study findings?
So this shows that immunotherapies actually have a role in prostate cancer, because I think that was a major question. And when I say immunotherapies, I'm talking about immune checkpoint therapies in more specifically, because we should all remember that sipuleucel T or Provenge has been FDA approved as a cancer vaccine in 2010.
So I know you touched on this a bit, but what are the next steps for the study?
Yeah, so we are now enrolling a randomized study where we're looking at the 2 different dosing and scheduling of nivolumab plus ipilimumab, but we're also comparing that to monotherapy with ipilimumab alone versus standard of care cabazitaxel chemotherapy. And so we'll see what those results show. And we hope that we will see that the combination is much more efficacious as well as tolerable. And we hope that this will lead to FDA approval of the combination. But I just want to point out, this wasn't the home run. It wasn't that all patients were benefiting. And we've already identified potential other pathways that we need to target that can potentially give us more patients that are benefiting from this.
So what would you say is most important for practicing oncologists to take away from this study?
That I would not go and start doing this off-label. I would wait for the results to come out, because again, this was done with 90 patients and it was done in many of the more experienced cancer centers. And now this randomized phase 2 is opened up as an international trial where many other cancer centers or other places that practice oncology are enrolling patients. So I'd wait to see what these updated results show.
Great. So for patients who may not understand medical jargon, how would you explain the key highlights of the study?
Yeah, so basically what we did was we took a drug known as Yervoy, and the generic name being ipilimumab, and we found that it worked in a small subset of patients. But when we looked more carefully, we found that the immune system brought the T cells, which are the major immune cells that fight the cancer, into the prostate. But the prostate cancer was smart and put up a brake so that these immune cells couldn't fight the cancer. And one of those brakes is what the second drug is targeting. So we're trying to remove the brakes off the immune system by giving the combination. And we're hoping that that will then be able to lead to what we hope, durable and curative responses.
So that's all I had for you. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you think is worth mentioning in this space?
No, I think you hit them all.
Great. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks. Take care.
You too.